our story is really to try and create something authentic. It's really, really easy to tell your story if you're authentic.
People see right through that, and I think that's where a lot of brands are still kind of falling behind in messaging, in storytelling, is that they feel like, oh, if we just kind of put the buzzword in, if we do the thing, but if you're not living out those values, if you're not actually putting in the work, people are going to find out pretty quickly.
100%.
When it comes to showing up in a public sphere, in something like online, social media, wherever else, it could be easy to fall by the wayside of like, well, we see everybody else doing it this way, so we ought to be seen doing the same thing. But then I don't know if you're really gonna kind of break through that mold and get to those people that are looking for something deeper, right?
Yeah, if you've got an authentic story and you've got something that connects with people, like, you know, social and environmental responsibility, then you can engage them on an emotional level. That's storytelling.
To be real, there is a certain level of vulnerability that is inherent to being on the precipice of change, right? So it's like, yeah, you're gonna get things wrong. Yeah, you're gonna, you know, maybe mess something up, but that's you fail forward and that's how you figure things out. And
yeah, every protagonist in every story has to overcome some challenges.
Exactly.
You know, and
exactly.
so, and that's it. And I think if you're honest, you know, with your staff, with your suppliers, because we're overcoming challenges. The easiest path is not the most environmentally and socially conscious path. It's, yeah, farm it out to someone else. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. Just give it to me when it's done. And I have to say there's a lot of brands that do that. Mm-hmm. You know, they're just like, see no evil, hear no evil.
Because, you know, even from like a practical point of view, when people just talk about like, I don't know how to create marketing materials. I don't know what's the content that we create. I don't know what to do. And it's like, well, if you're not able to just show the work you're doing, that is the story. Then show the journey of learning how to do that work.
The attempt to get there, you know, showing like, yeah, we tried this, we fell. We tried this again, we fell. That's a really important part of the journey and an important part of the story. And other companies, especially new companies that are just growing, they need to see that. They need to be like, oh wow, don't be discouraged. They fell down, they fell down, they fell down. By sharing a story and by encouraging other people to share their stories, the good, the bad, the challenges, the falls, the scraped knees, all of that kind of stuff, it connects people, but it also has people more understanding, be like, okay, that's real.
It's really easy for brands to slap a label on something and put messaging out there, put content out there that we have like 1% organic cotton in our material or in our overall line, we can say we're organic. And it's up to the conscious consumer to be like, well, tell me more about that. Prove it to me. Tell me more and dive into it. And more people are starting to do that. So if you're not able to put your money where your mouth is, you're gonna get called out. And this is kind of the way of the future.
I'll give you a good example. My son, you know, said, hey Dad, I found these really cool shoes and this top and these pants and another pair of shoes, and it's such an amazing deal. Like, is it okay? Can I borrow some money? It's only 120 bucks. And I was like, wait, what's only 120 bucks? And he said, all this stuff.
Right.
And I said, 2 pairs of shoes and a hoodie and a pair of pants is 120 bucks? That's not possible. And he's like, no, look, it is. And I said, okay, where's it coming from? And he said, I don't know. I said, okay, well, you need to know. If it's coming from Shein or Boo Boo or one of these giant companies that are just jamming crap out the door and not paying their wages or not paying the workers at all and leaving stuff in the lurch or not responsible in any way, shape, or form for the fabrics or the processes or any of that kind of stuff, that's a totally other thing. And he said, well, how do I find out? And I said, go and do a little bit of investigation. And I said, here's the deal that I will make with you. If that is all legit, I'll give you the money, no problem. If it's not legit, I know how badly you want it. I know how hard you've worked for it. Let's sit down together and find those similar items, but ethically produced, and I will top up the difference to allow you to purchase those instead, and we'll make it your gift. And he came back to me about a week later and said, yeah, I don't want those things anymore, Dad.
Wow.
It's something that in my space, for instance, from a raw material perspective, yarns a lot of people don't pay attention to. For instance, they'll buy a fabric, they don't realize that fabric was, that cotton was grown in the U.S. Then it was flown overseas and processed, and then flown to another place where it was knitted and then dyed, and then flown back over here again. And you're like, oh man, the footprint on that is enormous. But we need those little companies to push ahead, to show we need to support them so that they can get ahead and show it's possible, so that we all as consumers demand it of the bigger companies. Be like, there's no excuse that you're not doing that, because if they can do it at 1/100th of your size with none of the funding, you sure as heck can, being the giant company that you are right now. Don't just buy from anybody, especially if it's a basic, like we make t-shirts and hoodies. That's something that you're gonna wear every day. It shouldn't cost less than your Starbucks coffee. The downward pressure on apparel in terms of pricing is massively problematic. The fact that we're trying to be able to get it for as cheap as possible. Spend your money to know that you're supporting, something that is positive in some way, shape, or form. Something that is creating employment at a fair living wage for people. Something that doesn't have a immensely negative impact on the planet or a certain population. It's not rocket science to figure out. This company I trust, Econic I trust. These different companies I trust because I've seen what they're doing. I've done my research. I know that I can go to them.
That's absolutely true. How do I subscribe to your newsletter?
Go to econic.ca and sign up there. Yeah, good question. Follow me on the Kahani adventures. How's
there you
that?
go. Yeah, subscribe to Kahani.
Thanks. I'm super, super pleased to be working with Kahani, and you are an award-winning storyteller already, and for you to help us tell our story and bring that to the community at large is a huge honor for me to get the chance to work with you. So thanks.
Cool, man.